In yesterday's game against the Washington Commanders, we got 14 snaps out of Will Campbell, and the guy definitely flashed, and he looked really good to me. He actually looked a lot better than I actually initially thought he would. Truth be told, I did not think this guy was as physical in college as he showed in his first ever NFL game. The guy was literally putting people on the ground. And today we're going to analyze all of the good things from his tape. Plus, there was one play in which it was a strip sack that kind of happened. We're going to break down that play. It was not Will Campbell's fault. I'll talk about the actual pass blocking scheme that the Patriots were using on that play specifically. I'm excited for this one, man. Let's just get right into the tape. A lot of really good things. We're going to start with this first play right here. So I want to go ahead and start right away just talking a little bit about this guy's run blocking ability. There were so many good reps when it came to Campbell and his ability to run block. Moving out in space, to me, this guy really flashed. Now this one here is what we call a pin pull concept. So Campbell has to pull, he has to get out in front, he has to lead block. And he does a phenomenal job on this one. And this is not the play that has kind of went viral on social media where he pancakes the safety. This one's a different one where they kind of get him out in space. And on this one here, he does a phenomenal job making contact. The running back cuts it right off of him, picks up about 7.5 yards. And I love the physicality once again by Campbell. Now here's the thing with this play. Campbell is going to pull, or you're going to get a guy to essentially crack down on this defensive end. And then all of these guys on the back side here are essentially reach blocking, right? They're all going to take a step over here to the left. They all need to essentially get in front of these defensive linemen. And although it is technically a power-based concept, on the backside there's a lot of zone elements to this play. And that's important to remember because there is a play I'm going to show you guys a little bit later on where Campbell is going to be on the backside of the pin pull. Now obviously this one here, he's on the front side and he just does a phenomenal job, man. Love the footwork here. Love the processing, right, to get out in space. He finds that corner that essentially flashes, makes contact with him, just does a really nice job staying physical with that cornerback, making sure he's able to kind of make that block. You're going to get another one here. This one's going to be a draw play. Not a whole lot to kind of pick apart out of this one, but he does do his job, right? And you do got to give credit where credit is due, given the fact this is Campbell's first time ever kind of being out there in the NFL, right, having to make these different type of blocks. Now, obviously, do keep in mind, Campbell does have a responsibility within this play. There's still a science to how he has to make this block. And in this instance, he does exactly what he's kind of tasked to do. You'll see on this play here how Campbell he kind of boxes out his defender. He's going to essentially influence this guy upfield. And then with that, Campbell's going to kind of box him away from where the run essentially is. This is a really good job right here by Campbell to understand the situation that he's kind of in, understand the play and kind of how it's designed. A play only picks up about 3 yards, but still it's a good job by Campbell. Now on this next run play, very impressive. You're going to see him once again get physical. It's a double team block between him and the left guard. And this one pops for 13 yards. Now this was 3rd and 1 here. To me, I absolutely love the physicality. Love the leverage, the drive between him and the left guard. The D tackle here has the responsibility of taking on the double team block, potentially staying within one of these gaps. And you see these two guys just straight up move this guy out of there. And again, Campbell really showed a lot of physical tendencies. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, man. This guy really impressed me. Just kind of showing off that power, the technique part of it as well. Just a really good job. And then, of course, arguably the best run block probably of the weekend so far that I've seen was Will Campbell getting out in space and just straight up burying the safety right here, just being physical. Absolutely love this play right here by Campbell. Just like that first play I showed you guys, it's the pin pull concept. So Campbell's pulling, he's getting out in space, and then basically from the left guard back to the right tackle, every single guy is essentially reach blocking, right? So this is technically considered a power run concept. But from left guard to right tackle, these guys are all basically backside blocking, which is more in line with like a zone scheme. But regardless, you see Campbell do a phenomenal job once again, getting out in space and just the physicality, man. The physicality of this is one part of it. And it's really nice, right, that he gets physical. But to me, what's even better than just the physical aspect of this play is the fact that as soon as this safety comes downhill, Campbell's going to make contact with this guy and he's going to essentially box him out of this play. He's going to make sure that this safety is not able to turn back towards the inside, right? Or get over the top, however, and essentially tackle the running back. Campbell 100% makes sure when he makes contact with this guy, he blocks him outwards. And without that block right there, you don't pick up the 18 yards that you do ultimately pick up. Now, of course, the physicality of it is a completely different conversation. I personally love guys that are physical, but I still love guys that are technical that make their block first and foremost. And on this play here, Campbell does a really, really nice job. Seeing Campbell run block the way he is run blocking, I'm not surprised, but the physicality definitely kind of surprised me. And there's a couple other plays where this guy gets physical as well. Here's one where it's not a safety or cornerback, instead it's a linebacker, and he's going to absolutely crush this guy. Again, physical tendencies have surprised me with Campbell, but I love this, man. Love the physicality. And again, he's making the block, so it's not like he's just being physical and he's throwing people and he's not, kind of getting to the guy he needs to get to. He's getting to his blocks. This one here is actually what is called crunch. For Campbell, he's going to fake like he's going to block this defensive end. Instead, he's going to climb up to this linebacker, and then you're going to get the tight end here, who I believe is going to trap this guy. And you're going to basically try to pop this in between one of these gaps here. And the play works right about 3 to 4 yards. So it's a pretty good run. Again, crunch, completely different type of run concept. Really, really like what Campbell does on this one. Just a phenomenal job. Now, there's just one more run play that I want to show you guys, and then we'll switch over to the pass pro. There's definitely some things he needs to improve on in pass pro, and we'll talk about that as we kind of get there. Now, this one is a pin pull, which means that Campbell has a reach block on the linebacker. He's not going to be able to get there. Now, his guy does not necessarily make the play right. The play kind of gets blown up. A couple other guys kind of miss their blocks a little bit. Maybe the Commanders have the numbers on that side. But if you guys keep an eye on the linebacker here, lined up slightly to the inside of Campbell, he's going to actually still get over there. And he's right there, right? You see this linebacker, he's right there. Doesn't make the play. You obviously see the running back goes down before this guy can get there. But Campbell has to do a better job getting to this block. Now, this is not an easy block by any means, but do understand, Campbell's responsibility is to take this angle and get in front of this guy. To me, he has to take a better angle on this one. This, to me, right here is teach tape. The coach is going to sit down and say, hey, the angle you took was not good enough. Got to get a little bit wider, and you got to get in front of this linebacker. That right there is not good enough, right? But again, it's not a huge deal. It's just one of those teach tape type of moments. And again, it's also a difficult block, right? This is not an easy thing to do. Not a huge deal. This is probably the only run rep that I saw from him of his 7-8 plays in which he didn't necessarily win the block, right? Every other play he basically won. And then, of course, with that, let's go ahead and just talk a little bit about this guy's pass blocking abilities and just kind of some of what we saw. There are definitely moments where I watched this guy, said, he just has to get a little bit better, right? He just has to do things a little bit cleaner. Maybe the hands need to land a little bit better. We're starting with this play here. This was the 15-yard sack. This play is not on Campbell at all. 100% has nothing to do with Will Campbell. I saw some people post on Twitter saying, hey, what a bad football player. He doesn't process the defensive line game. I don't even think this was supposed to be a switch, to be 100% honest with you guys. I'm pretty sure the offense here is in some sort of man blocking situation. Man blocking is different than the zone blocking, right? Or the angle blocking where you're essentially switching guys. Some people call it gap blocking. To me, I'm almost certain this is man, which means left guard takes his man one-on-one. Campbell takes the defensive end one-on-one. So I don't think they had a switch concept here, right? I don't think they were supposed to switch. But even if they were, right, let's say the blocking was for these guys to switch on this play, the left guard's not in a good spot to switch, right? So this one here is a lot more on the left guard than it is on Campbell. To me, there's just nothing you can really do on this play, right? And there's just no way you're going to be able to switch this. So one of these guys is going to be, free essentially regardless. And again, to me, this is not on Campbell at all. Obviously, I wanted to start here because some people talked about this play. And there's good moments, which we'll obviously get into, but there's also moments where he has to do a better job. Here's one play where he's going to be in a one-on-one against the defensive end. To me, this, the end gets just a little close to the quarterback. You can say this is a pressure. Some people will say it's not. But I do want Campbell to be able to develop the strength. I need him to get a little bit stronger. One of the concerns that people had with Campbell coming out was his arm length is not super long, right? I think it's 32, and a half or something around there. And some people feel like, hey, the issue with Campbell is that he's going to get outreached by guys. And this is kind of those type of situations where a guy is going to outreach him. Or the guy gets into Campbell's chest and then he's able to bull rush him back. And then Campbell's not going to be able to adjust because guys can essentially outreach him, right? I don't think this is necessarily a problem because I think Campbell could get stronger. His base could get a little bit better. We've seen guys like Rashawn Slater have a lot of success. His arm length isn't like super, super crazy. Luke Gedicke, the right tackle of the Buccaneers, same thing, right? Really, really good right tackle. Arm length is not like off the charts. It's kind of in that Will Campbell range. This play is not great. You got to develop the base. You got to be able to anchor down. And I think if the hands landed a little bit better, you can see Campbell's going to, essentially like throw a punch and the hands are going to land, but the hands don't displace the defensive end on this one, right? The hands almost land just to land. You got to do a little bit of a better job. The left hand also isn't, it doesn't land in a good spot, in my opinion. It's a little too high, and that's not going to slow this guy down, right? And then, of course, the right hand is going to land on the outside shoulder, which that's okay, but the left hand just lands a little too high. If you land that left arm just a little bit lower and into that chest, it would at that point give Campbell the ability to be able to like slow this guy down a little bit. You can see he even tries to adjust the arms. So let me just back this up. Left hand is going to be high. And then look at him bring the left hand around right there. He's trying to get it back into the chest. But then he just kind of gets outreached. So again, the punch timing just needs to improve a little bit, but it's his first game. This is some of the stuff you're going to have to kind of learn and develop. This is some of the stuff that you just got to kind of get better at. Now, also do note, there are plays like this where the running back's going to essentially chip on the guy. We're going to just skip these plays. There's really no point in watching these type of plays. There's really not a whole lot you can learn from these. Here's another one with Campbell. This one's a phenomenal rep. The hand lands perfectly on the defensive end this time. And the thing that I really like with Campbell in his pass protection is he does not lean into guys, right? So like the left hand lands, he's not leaning. The defensive end's going to swipe the hand downwards. And because of the fact that Campbell is not leaning, he's going to be able to just bring that hand right back up, right? So I'm going to slow this down. Left hand lands. The defensive end swipes that hand down right there. And right after that swipe, Campbell just brings it right back up. To me, that's perfect. That's the perfect way to pass pro. The play we just broke down a little while ago where the left hand landed too high. This is kind of the opposite of it, right? Hand lands perfectly on this one. A really, really nice rep. Great base as well. He's able to just kind of shut down number 96. The quarterback does take off running, picks up 11 yards. That's a really, really nice rep right there. Now, a little while ago, I talked about that sack that Will Campbell gave up. And I said, hey, to me, it looks like they're in some sort of man blocking situation as opposed to like gap blocking. And you can tell this is man blocking based off of how these guys are blocking it. They're not looking to switch. And you can see this happening like across the board, right? So you keep an eye on 71 here. 71 is not looking to switch with the center here. 71's looking to stick to his own guy, right? So you can tell that there's no, hey, let's switch and let's pass guys off. This is more so of man on man. You take your guy. Now, obviously, there's going to be a little bit of help, right? Like Campbell will, kind of get that right hand out there. He'll double team a little bit and two guys will take on two guys, but they're not necessarily looking to switch. I'm not a huge fan of man blocking because when teams run defensive line games, you're essentially going to be put into a bad spot, right? Now, of course, teams run man blocking because it is easier for offensive linemen to kind of learn and understand. It's a lot more simpler. And I'm sure, if the Patriots are going to run full slide, half slides, and those type of things, I'm pretty confident they're not going to show all that stuff in the preseason, right? Teams keep it pretty vanilla. Here's another play by Campbell. Now, this one, some people, I saw a clip on Twitter where someone was essentially bashing Campbell, right? And this was one of the plays that they were kind of utilizing to bash Campbell. They're saying, hey, the arm length is an issue, and here's another example of that. I'm not too worried about these type of things. I understand number 99's going to long arm Campbell, or at least try to long arm him. And I understand the concern that, hey, like, the arm length this, the arm length that. But, one of the things with Campbell that you got to realize is this guy has advanced technique. So he'll snatch guys down if they long arm him. He knows how to slingshot. He knows how to do all that other stuff when it comes to run blocking as well. I'm not too concerned about Campbell in the arm length aspect of it. Also, do recognize, when you're pass blocking, you're going backwards. So it's a different type of strength when you're going backwards as a pass blocker versus, hey, you're run blocking, you're going forward. Two different muscle groups. I think there's so much upside with Campbell. And, after that first game, right, against the Commanders yesterday, he definitely has shown me more than I initially thought as he was kind of coming out. I wasn't 100% sold if he could play tackle in the NFL. I felt that his best fit would be on the inside, but based off of what I saw yesterday, I think there's definitely potential for this guy to become a really, really good offensive tackle. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. We will obviously continue to cover the Patriots as we have on this channel. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.